This is a YouTube video. A doctor by the name of Timothy M. He's doing some research to help women balance their eating habits and their hormones. He knows that people love to eat sugars and fats, especially for snacks. And he found that there's a correlation. A college in New York did an experiment. They used rats that would have to find their ways through a maze. So they put like rice cake. They used rice cake. And the other thing that they used in the experiment was Oreo cookies. And the rats did not go toward the rice cake. They preferred the Oreos first and made their way through the maze to get that. So he did a further experiment where they injected saline water or sugar, and the rats again went to the Oreo cookie side. Same thing happened as the first experiment. So the rat's brain, when they did some type of scan, they found that the pleasure sensor spiked when it came to the Oreo cookies, almost like a drug effect. It was very eye-opening for the scientists to see the statistics. So the Oreo cookie stimulation was even spiked higher than the pleasure sensor, which meant that it indicates some type of addiction, such as using drugs or something. So people can get a sugar high. How can you overcome this addiction? Is to limit your intake of the cookies. Eat smaller portions. And don't drink soda at all, or any other kinds of sugar, because the more you eat it, it's more habit forming. It really made me laugh about this, because a lot of people eat their Oreo cookies different ways, but for me, I open it up and eat the icing in the middle first. So if I eat a whole big old pile of Oreo cookies, it's not my fault. It's the cookie. It's a drug. Addiction. Yeah. A doctor by the name of Timothy Morley, a doctor in New York City, he did an experiment to help women with hormonal balances. But during his research, he found something about why people love sugars and fatty foods, that is, even to the point of addiction. It says people love sweets, so does rats. In a college in New York, they had set up a maze. In one part of the maze, they had rice cake. And on the other end of the maze, they put an Oreo cookie. The rats tended to head toward the Oreo cookie first. So, for comparison, they did another experiment. On one side, they had sugar water. And the Oreo, some type of Oreo cookie formula on the other side, and of course the rat went to Oreo cookie again. So when it comes to the brain waves, the pleasure sensors, the brain spikes when there's a pleasure center, such as morphine or any other kind of drugs. You have a clear indication of the brain waves spiking because of those drugs. But when it came to the Oreo cookie, compared to those drugs like morphine and others, the Oreo cookie spiked even more so than the use of drugs. So that's very interesting. That means food with high fats and high sugar compares to intravenous drugs. And people know it's not good for you, but somehow they just still get stuck on it. They enjoy it so much. But we can avoid having an addiction if we control ourselves by using a small amount of sugar and soda, for example, or different kind of corn syrup, etc. Because people really overindulge in it because it is addiction. It's really funny because the way people eat Oreo cookies, first time they open it up and they usually lick it, the white inside. A lot of people do that first. Oh. After they lick all the inside, then they eat the chocolate. But it's not my fault if I decide to eat a whole heap of Oreo cookies. It's my brain. It's a drug, right?